You don't know the raid is coming until the man who hired you stops answering his phone. Not one call, not two. Every call. Every message, gone. The other workers already knew. They packed their things the night before. Quietly, without telling you, because in this world, when the boss disappears, immigration is already outside. You were the only one still asleep. You were the only foreigner who didn't know the rules yet. You land at Incheon with $0. Not almost zero, zero. The plan, if you can call it that, is simple. Get in on a tourist visa. Find work. Figure out the rest later. Back home, you had a job that paid nothing, a lease you couldn't afford, and a talent for convincing yourself that somewhere else would be different. Seoul looked different, in the videos at least. The immigration officer at Incheon asks, purpose of visit. You say, tourism. He stamps your passport. 90 days, you have 90 days to become legal. Or invisible, you don't know yet which one you're going to choose. Seoul is not cheap. Seoul is the illusion of cheap. 3,500, one for kimbap, yes. 600,000, one deposit minimum for even the smallest room. Also, yes, you sleep the first 3 nights in a Jinjilbang, a 24-hour bathhouse. 12,000, one a night. You sleep on the heated floor in a communal room with 12 other men who have various reasons for not going home. You don't ask about their reasons. They don't ask about yours. You find a foreigner Facebook group. You post, looking for any work, cash, immediate start. 4 people reply. 3 of them are scams. One of them is Mr. Choi. You don't know yet which category Mr. Choi falls into. It will take you 4 months to find out. He meets you at a coffee shop in Yeongdeung-po. 50s. Neat. The specific confidence of someone who has solved problems you haven't encountered yet. He says, I run a logistics operation, loading, sorting, delivery prep, cash, daily. He says, I don't ask about visas. He says, you don't ask about anything else. You say, how much? He says, 80,000 won a day, $60 a day. Cash, no paperwork. You shake his hand before he finishes the sentence. The warehouse is in Guro-gu, industrial district, the kind of Seoul that doesn't appear in travel videos. No neon, no cafes, just loading docks and forklifts and men who work fast and talk little. You work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Your hands blister in week 1, callous by week 3. Mr. Choi pays every Friday, cash in an envelope, no name on it, no receipt, just the money, counted correctly every time. You find a room in a Goshiwon near the warehouse. 350,000 won a month, the size of a large wardrobe with a bed inside it, shared bathroom, paper-thin walls, a window that looks at another wall. You eat at the 24-hour kimbap place 3 streets over. The Ajumma knows your face by week 2. She doesn't know your name. She knows your order. In Seoul, when you're invisible, that counts as belonging. Month 2, month 3, you send money home. You save. You start looking at legitimate visa options. E9 work visa, language school enrollment, anything with a stamp that says you're allowed to be here. Your tourist visa expires at 90 days. You don't leave. Day 91, you become something without a name on any official form. The Koreans have a word for it. Mifungnuk, unregistered. Ghost. Month 4, a Tuesday. You wake at 5 a.m. for the early shift. You call Mr. Choi to confirm the loading schedule. No answer. You call again. No answer. You message on Kakao Talk. 1 tick, not 2, not delivered. You take the subway to Gurogu anyway, because 80,001 is 80,001, and you need the shift. You get off at the station. You see the vans first. White, government plates. 3 of them outside the warehouse. You stop walking. A man in a vest that says Chulipguk, immigration, is standing at the warehouse entrance. Another is walking the perimeter. 2 workers you recognize are being walked to a van. Heads down. No bags. You turn around. You walk back to the station. You do not run. Running means something. Walking fast means nothing. On the subway home, you call Mr. Choi one more time. This time it rings. Once. Then voicemail. You understand Mr. Choi knew. He always knows. In this business, the employer disappears first, the workers disappear second. The employer reappears later, somewhere else, with a different operation and a new group of people who need the money and don't ask questions. You were never his worker. You were his risk management. The less he knew your name, the less he had to answer for. You go back to the Goshiwan, you sit on the bed, the room is the size of a wardrobe. It has never felt smaller. You count what's left. 4 months of work, some sent home, some saved. Enough to stay. Voluntary departure, that's the term. If you leave before they find you, the ban is shorter, 1 year maybe. If they find you first, it's longer, and it goes on your record, and the record follows you to every border you will ever cross. You go to the kimbap place one last time. The Ajuma puts your order on the counter before you sit down. You eat, you pay, you bow. She says something in Korean. You don't understand it. But the tone is gentle. The tone of someone who has watched enough people disappear from this neighborhood to recognize when another one is leaving. You pack your Goshiwan in 40 minutes. It takes 40 minutes because you arrived with nothing, and 4 months of ghost work doesn't leave much behind. At Incheon, the immigration officer looks at your passport, he looks at the stamp, he looks at you, he types something. He doesn't say what, he stamps a new page, he hands it back. You don't ask what he typed. You don't want to know what's in the record. Somewhere in Gurogu, the warehouse is open again. New workers, new shifts, new envelopes on Friday. A new foreigner who landed with nothing and found a Facebook post and shook a hand before the sentence was finished. Mr. Choi is at a coffee shop somewhere. Neat, confident, the specific calm of someone who has solved this problem before. He says, I don't ask about visas. You don't ask about anything else. And Seoul keeps spinning. 10 million people, 397,000 undocumented workers, all of them invisible in the specific way that only exists when a city needs your labor, but not your name. Seoul didn't trap you. It just never had a record of you being there. If this hits somewhere, drop a comment the moment. The specific moment you realize the city you came to survive in had already decided you didn't officially exist. Because that's where the real stories live. Not in the visa offices, in the envelopes with no names on them, in the subway ride away from the vans, in the phone that rings once and goes to voicemail. Subscribe. Every week, a new city, a new story about what it costs to build a life in a place that was never designed to hold you. Because somewhere out there, someone just landed at Incheon, $0 in their pocket. A plan that starts with, figure it out, and a Facebook post they haven't replied to yet. Foreign ground. For everyone who is somewhere they didn't quite expect to be,